set the scene. Pulled up slow, let the engine settle down. City lights reflecting off the pavement of this town. Rolled the window down a little, let the night air in. That particular California warmth touches everything. Got the music low enough to feel it in the seat. Got nowhere to be tonight except inside this beat. World been moving fast all week. Tonight I'm moving different, taking every corner slow, paying full attention. She called around 11, said come through, no agenda. Just the kind of evening that the summer nights remember. Long after summer's over, long into the winter, when you're trying to reconstruct the warmth by every splinter of detail. You retain the smell of jasmine through the window. The particular way the street light made everything feel simple, like the city took a breath and held it just for us. Slow ignition, no explosion, just a gradual combustion.
Everything tonight is moving at its own decision. No collision, just the kind of smooth that don't require any precision. Just the feeling of a summer night in California. Slowly breathing, slow ignition. Let it build the way it wants to. Let it find its rhythm.
She had music on already when I got there. Something old, something from the era when they pressed the feeling into gold. Actual gold, vinyl gold, the kind that fills the corners of a room with something physical. We weren't the kind of mourners of the digital. We kept it analog deliberately. Good speakers, real sound waves, the frequency of something warm and physical surrounding us completely. Two people in a room where everything was moving sweetly. Slow, the way the good things move, when nobody is rushing, nobody performing, nobody overcorrecting, adjusting for an audience that isn't there. Just the actual, the underneath, the version of the evening that is factual, and therefore more than anything that either of us planned for. Poured 2 glasses, sat outside, found something to stand for. Just the night, just the city doing what the city does. Slow ignition, no agenda, just because.
Everything tonight is moving at its own decision. No collision, just the kind of smooth that don't require any precision. Just the feeling of a summer night in California. Slowly breathing, slow ignition. Let it build the way it wants to. Let it find its rhythm.
I've been in rooms that were too loud for any real connection, where the noise performed the function of avoiding introspection, where the crowd served as permissions not to be present, where the evening was a series of performed amusements. This was not that. This was quiet in the way that quiet takes courage, takes the willingness to let the riot of your daily self go still enough to actually feel another person's frequency. That's the skill that nobody teaches formally, but everybody's searching for. Everybody's at the party, slowly hurting from the absence of the actual, the present tense of being somewhere real with someone. Of the immense simplicity of a summer night with nowhere to be going. Just the jasmine and the vinyl and the city, and the knowing that some evenings write themselves into the permanent record. Without trying, without planning, just slow ignition, just the texture. West Side after midnight. Some nights just write themselves. Slow ignition. Slow ignition. Slow ignition.
Yeah. One day you gonna look around and I won't be there. Let me tell you how that's gonna feel.
I've been moving through the city like the pavement knows my name. Every block I ever walked on still remembers how I came up from nothing. Built from concrete, built from early morning cold. Built from watching older heads and learning what they never told. You directly had to read between the silence and the smoke. Had to find the code inside the things they never spoke out loud. That's how the West was won, for people built like me. Not by force but by the patience of the ones who chose to see past the surface of the struggle into something worth the building, something worth the years of grinding, worth the slow and steady willing of yourself into existence. On a block that didn't promise anything except the lesson I received. It kept my compass pointed inward, pointed forward. Never let the noise distract me, never let the ones who doubted find a foothold to extract me from the vision. Now I'm standing where the vision said I'd be, and I can see you finally starting to see what I see.
When I'm gone, you gon' miss me. When I'm gone, you gon' feel it in the air. When I'm gone, all the realness I was bringing gon' leave a space that nothing else can fill up there. Yeah, when I'm gone, don't say you didn't know what you had. When I'm gone, the streets gon' feel it good and bad.
Remember Tuesday nights on Crenshaw, everybody out. Summer air so thick with music you could almost see the sound. Rising from the cars, from the corners, from the community that built itself from scratch because the system gave it nothing free. We made the culture out of what they left us, made it beautiful, made it something that the whole world came to find incredible. Then tried to own it, tried to bottle it and sell it back. But you can't bottle what we built, it lives inside the track, inside the memory of every person who was present for the moments that we made. When making moments felt like blessing, not like content, not like product, not like something to be branded. Just the living of the life we had before it got expanded into something that the cameras follow, something that the distance of the years has made nostalgic. I still feel the persistence of those Tuesday nights inside my chest when the synth rises. Life was simple, life was real and complicated in its graces.
Don't miss me. When I'm gone, you gon' feel it in the air. When I'm gone, all the realness I was bringing gon' leave a space that nothing else can fill up there. When I'm gone, don't say you didn't know what you had. When I'm gone, the streets gon' feel it good and bad.
I thought about what stays behind when everything else fades. Thought about the conversations and the choices and the trades you make between ambition and the people that you love, between the reaching for the future and the holding what you have. Those negotiations never end, they just get more refined as the years stack up and clarify what matters in the mind of a man who's been through seasons, who has watched the circle turn, who has lost enough to know the value of what's left to learn. So I'm leaving something real here, leaving more than just the music, leaving proof that from this concrete something grew that wasn't useless, that the people who got written off produced a thing of beauty that endured beyond the moment, that outlasted every scrutiny they applied to us. When I'm gonna let the record be the witness, let the Tuesday nights on Crenshaw be the evidence, the business of a life lived without apology, a voice that didn't shrink. When I'm gonna pour a little out and take a moment just to think.
When I'm gone, you gon' miss me. When I'm gone, you gon' feel it in the air. When I'm gone, all the realness I was bringing gon' leave a space that nothing else can fill up there. Yeah, when I'm gone, the synth's still gon' be playing slow. When I'm gone, that West Coast wind still gon' blow.
Yeah, West Side, always. When I'm gone, you already know.
West Side. Good things take time. Always known that.
Never been the type to rush the good thing to happening. Watch too many people force the fruit before the ripening. End up with something bitter when it could have been magnificent if they just waited. Patience is the difference between the thing you grab and the thing you grow. One satisfies the moment, one stays with you, and so we chose a growing from the start, chose a slow accumulation of the real over the show. Of the fast result, my brother understood it without conversation. We both knew it, like we knew the block, like we knew the particular way of the east side, morning the vernacular. Of the horizon, some things only come to those who let them come, who don't succumb to the pressure of the immediate, who hold the vision long enough to watch it unfold.
Slow burn, steady flame.
West Side.
Taught us how to play the long game. Slow burn, take your time.
Best things in life don't move in a straight line.
Slow burn, let it grow.
Plant it deep enough and watch it find a road.
Slow burn, that's the way.
Built for the long run, not just for today.
Pops used to say the microwave produces fast, but the slow cook is the only thing that lasts. In the memory, in the body, in the soul of the eating. That's the principle, the whole philosophy applied to everything worth doing. The slow cook of the friendship, the pursuing of the craft over years. He wrist the last spare. Interrupt backers with the dope stack of pen. Push to the well and every drain there. Every nigga town, and I've been a tan. And the satisfied brothers watching, it's all curb pound. Rolling motherfucker sipping, y danger. En mi brand way, come to Sony. Tack on the cat the hours out of more, we got them now. The air is so weird and then it will away fully. And with me heavy as the tapes on my hands solely.
Slow burn, steady flame.
West side,
Taught us how to play the long game. Slow burn, take your time.
best things in life don't move in a straight line.
Slow burn, let it grow.
Plant it deep enough and watch it find the road.
Slow burn, that's the way.
Built for the long run, not just for today. West side, Sunday morning, nowhere to be.
Pops used to load us in the car on Sunday mornings. No destination mentioned, no particular warnings about how long we'd be gone. Just the keys, the tank topped off the night before. The breeze coming through the windows before the heat arrived. That particular Sunday quiet, just us and the road. Sometimes coast, sometimes inland, sometimes just the neighborhood, the block on Sunday. Reading different than the Monday version. Softer, less insistent on being anything except itself at rest. Sunday was the city at its honest best.
Sunday drive, no destination. Sunday drive, just a conversation of the road and the radio and the open window. Sunday drive, let the morning lead you. Sunday drive, let the west side feed you. Everything you need before the week begins. Sunday drive, it's where it all starts. Sunday drive, it's where we open heart.
Pops didn't talk much on those drives, not directly. Communicated through the music, obliquely through the turning down of certain streets, the returning to specific corners. Here's the place I'm from, here's the diner where your uncle used to regroup. Here's the church your grandmother attended. The whole arc of 40 years delivered through a windshield, no words needed.
Sunday drive, no destination. Sunday drive, just a conversation of the road and the radio and the open window. Sunday drive, let the morning lead you. Sunday drive, let the west side feed you. Everything you need before the week begins. Sunday drive, that's where it all starts. Sunday drive, that's where we open heart.
Now I take those drives myself on certain Sundays when the week has been the kind that undoes the composure slowly. Don't plan a route, just start the car and let the morning sort it out. Same way Pops did, same surrender to the road's own logic. I understand now what he was teaching, that the city holds you if you let it, that the history molds you. Last Sunday I took my nephew on the same route, same front seat to city storage Sunday that Pops gave us. The boy was quiet the way we used to be, filing away everything the drive deposits. Someday he'll understand the corners and the choosing. Sunday drives, the greatest thing beside you is the people that the morning drives provide.
Sunday drive, no destination. Sunday drive, just a conversation of the road and the radio and the open window. Sunday drive, let the morning lead you. Sunday drive, let the west side feed you. Everything you need before the week begins. Sunday drive, that's where it all starts. Sunday drive, that's where we open heart. No map needed, no direction, just the road and the connection. Sunday drives will always carry you. Sunday drives home away.
Pops, same route, every Sunday. seat now.
West Side.
Sunday drive.
Yeah. West Side.
Always knew we were different. Let me tell you how.
Everybody on the block had their own definition of the made it. We had ours, different edition of the dream. Not the visible kind, not the loud kind. The kind that builds in silence, the underground find your footing in the dark kind. We were patient in the neighborhood that punished hesitation. But we knew the difference between waiting and the strategic kind of slow to cultivating. Of the long result, mama always said, anything worth having takes the years instead of the moment we believed her. Even when believing cost us something, even when the shortcut looked like logic, we stayed long, stayed consistent, stayed together, stayed strong. Not because the strong road felt heroic, just because the alternative was going.
Built different from the ground up, built different, never gave the doubt enough room to grow. We closed that door. Built different, that's what we were built for. Built different, same foundation, different, same West Coast nation, different, but the same at the core. Built different, that's worth fighting for.
The difference wasn't obvious at first. Looked like everybody else for the same thirst, for the better on our faces. Difference was the wiring under the surface, the particular firing of the instinct when the moment asked the question of who we really were. Every lesson came back the same answer, came back consistent with the one before that, kind of persistent. Sameness under pressure is the definition of the character we had it. The tradition of the holding in the storm without the bending. Past the point of the return, the defending of the core when everything surrounding is in motion. We stayed grounded while the neighborhood cycled through its seasons. We stayed put for all the right reasons.
Built different from the ground up, built different, never gave the doubt enough room to grow. We closed that door. Built different, that's what we were built for. Built different, same foundation, different, same West Coast nation, different, but the same at the core. Built different, that's worth fighting for.
There was a winner that came through and tested everything. Tested whether what we said we were was the real thing, or just a version that existed in the comfortable seasons. That winter was unmerciful and long and cold in ways that had nothing to do with temperature. The buffeting of that particular year left marks.
West Side. Thinking tonight. Go deep. Go deep. 3 a.m. and the thinking goes deep water. The kind that surfaces in the after. Midnight hours when the filters drop and the real questions rise. When the stop, gap, or the daily busy clears enough for the underneath to breathe. The stuff you file under later during daylight hours arrives precisely at the darkest hours, uninvited but necessary. I've learned not to fight the 3 a.m., the earned discomfort of the examined life arriving on its schedule. The surviving of the surface questions in the daylight leaves the deeper ones for the late night. So I sit with them, the ones without the easy answer. Give them room, give them out.
Deep water thinking,
3 a.m.
deep water thinking. Here we go again, down below the surface of the day. Deep water thinking, that's the only way to find the things worth finding, worth the dive. Deep water thinking, that's how you arrive at something real. Go down, go deep. Deep water thinking, no more sleep.
thought about my father for an hour. The complicated man, the particular power of his silences that I'm still interpreting. Decades later, the late night presenting the case again for my examination. Every 3 a.m. a new translation of the same material, the same evidence, producing different verdicts. The attendance of the years changes the reading. The older I become, the more the chip on the shoulder softens into something closer to the understanding of a man I never knew as fully as I needed. 3 a.m. keeps handing me new angles, the same hymn in a different key. I take the notes, deep water thinking, that's what the midnight quotes, yeah.
Deep water thinking, 3 a.m. Deep water thinking, here we go again, down below the surface of the day. Deep water thinking, that's the only way to find the things worth finding, worth the dive. Deep water thinking, that's how you arrive at something real. Go down, go deep. Deep water thinking, no more sleep.
By 4, the thinking usually finds its shoreline. The deep water unwinds into something shallower, something the morning can hold. I've learned to trust the warning system of the 4 a.m. The sense that the depth has given what it meant to give tonight, that the surfacing is earned. I write the worthwhile things before the sleep takes them. The notebook beside the bed, receiving every look behind the curtain that the 3 a.m. provided. Every answer that the darkness sided in the deep by morning. Some of it makes less sense in the daylight. Some of it survives the translation perfectly. Deep water thinking, that's the fee.
Deep water thinking, 3 a.m. Deep water thinking, here we go again, down below the surface of the day. Deep water thinking, that's the only way to find the things worth finding, worth the dive. Deep water thinking, that's how you arrive at something real. Go down, go deep. Deep water thinking, no more sleep.
Notebooks full, west side, 3 a.m.
Deep water,
Surface when you're ready.
deep water thinking, yeah.
West side, floors calling,
Answer it.
answer it. West side, floors calling, answer it. The DJ dropped something that rearranged the molecular structure of the room exchange. The standing energy for the moving kind. The floor filled in the way that floors find their fullness when the right record lands at the right moment.
No commands.
Required no announcement, just the drop in the instinct of the body saying stop. Thinking, start feeling she was already there. When I arrived at the floor, the particular care of her movement drawn the eye naturally. Not the performance kind, the actually lost in the kind, the full release of the self into the music.
That's the piece
That separates the real from the showing.
dance floor physics.
She was fully flowing.
Dance floor physics, body moving right. Dance floor physics, that's part of the night. When the music hits the body like it should. Dance floor physics, understood. Without the words, just the beat and the feeling.
Dance floor physics,
Send it to the ceiling. West side moving, everybody free.
dance floor physics.
That's where I wanna be.
Made my way into the orbit of the general area. Not the aggressive, the peripheral presence. The existing in the vicinity of something worth existing near.
The chemistry,
Of the floor does the introduction better than the words can.
the particular tether.
Of the shared music, the simultaneous experience of the moment, the spontaneous alignment of the energy she noticed. Without the acknowledgement, the most eloquent communication of the floor. A slight adjustment, a barely
More.
open posture, that's the language here. No approach needed when the atmosphere conducts the conversation.
Dance floor physics,
Handles with the words miss.
dance floor physics, body moving right. Dance floor physics, that's part of the night. When the music hits the body like it should. Dance floor physics, understood. Without the words, the beat and the feeling.
Dance floor physics,
Send it to the ceiling. West side moving, everybody free.
dance floor physics.
That's where I want to be.
3 songs in the flow had its own gravity. The crowd a single organism, the cavity of the speaker filling everything.
She turned,
And we were in the same conversation. By the music's particular permission, the dance flow as the confessor, the position of the body's honest in the way
the standing version of the day. Can never be. The floor strips the performance down to the actual, the conformance to the music or the night.
She conformed
Completely, that's the information I store for the after. When the DJ slowed it down, the floor adjusted. Couples found their particular arrangement.
She looked over.
Dance floor physics.
That's the thing we discovered. Dance floor physics. Body moving right. Dance floor physics. Best part of the night. When the music hits the body like it should. Dance floor physics. Understood. Without the words, the beat and the feeling.
Dance floor physics.
Send it to the ceiling. West side moving, everybody free.
Dance floor physics.
That's where I wanna be.
3 songs and
West side.
Lord still calling.
Dance floor physics.
No explanation needed.
Dance floor physics. Yeah. Dance floor physics. Yeah.
Same corner, every chapter. The corner store was never just a corner store. It was the living room, the block use when the living room felt too small for the conversation every afternoon. The same rotation of the faces, the commune of the neighborhood conducting its daily business. Not the transactional kind, the witness kind, the checking in, the knowing of each other's names and situations. The ongoing biography of the block told in real time over cold drinks. In the particular sublime of Mr. Hassan's patience behind the counter. 20 years of the same faces, the same encounter with the human in all its configurations. He'd seen the births and the graduations, the hard years and the better years, and everything between that counter held the whole offering.
Cornerstone Chronicles.
Chapter after chapter, everything we lost and everything we captured.
Chronicles.
Same block, same faces. Love lives in the most ordinary places.
Chronicles.
Cold drink in hand, Mr. Hassan always seemed to understand.
Chronicles.
That's where we grew. Everything I am was shaped by coming through. Saturday mornings had their own particular rhythm at that store. The vernacular of the weekend settling into the block. The older heads arriving around the clock of 9 and 10. Unhurried, unbothered, the week behind them. Nothing that required the tension of the Monday through the Friday, just a Saturday permission to take the wide way. Through the morning they stand outside with their coffee cups and let the block provide the entertainment of itself. The kids on bikes, the dogs, the various bids for attention that a Saturday produces. Mr. Hassan propped the door, the uses of the morning air too good to keep outside. Block breathing through the corner store with pride.
Corner store Chronicles.
Chapter after chapter, everything we lost and everything we captured.
Chronicles.
Same block, same faces. Love lives in the most ordinary places.
Chronicles.
Cold drink in hand, Mr. Hassan always seemed to understand.
Chronicles.
That's where we grew. Everything I am was shaped by coming through. I learned more standing at that counter than in any classroom. Mr. Hassan had a plan for every kid who lingered past the buy-in. He'd find a question, find the underlying thing that brought you in beyond the errand. Something in his reading of the current state of you that missed nothing. He'd say, you alright, and mean it in the full array of what the question holds. Not the automatic version people throw at you, the dramatic pause that follow, the actual waiting for the actual answer, the creating of the space where honesty could land. You'd find yourself explaining things unplanned to a man behind the counter with a cold drink who listened like it mattered, made you rethink. The store is different now, the sign has changed, the ownership is shifted, rearranged, the layout, but the corner holds the memory, the way the corner always does, the chemistry of the place surviving the replacement of the surface. We drive by, the ancient feeling comes regardless of the signage. The block remembers even when the mileage of the years has covered everything in new paint. We remember Mr. Hassan, every saint of the ordinary that the block produced, every elder who invested, every deduced lesson from the living of the daily. Corner Store Chronicles told us plainly who we were before we had the words for it. Everything I am came through that door a bit.
Corner Store Chronicles.
Chapter after chapter, everything we lost and everything we captured.
Corner Store Chronicles.
Same block, same faces. Love lives in the most ordinary places.
Corner Store Chronicles.
Cold drink in hand, Mr. Hassan always seemed to understand.
Corner Store Chronicles.
That's where we grew.
everything I am was shaped by coming through.
Every town has got a corner, every corner has its keeper. Every keeper holds the stories, every story runs a little deeper. Corner Store Chronicles, Mr. Hassan, still listening.
Mr. Hassan, same corner,
Still there to me.
West Side.
Corner Store Chronicles, love lies there, yeah.
West Side. Evening coming in. Pull up a chair. Grandmama had a back porch that solved everything. Didn't matter what you brought to it, what the suffering of the week had left inside you. You sat down and something about the wood, the particular sound of the neighborhood filtered through the screen. The smell of whatever she was cooking, the routine of the evening settling around you like a hand on the shoulder. You didn't have to understand it to receive it, didn't need the language. Just to sitting, just to letting the anguish of the week find its proportion against the size of the evening sky. Things that felt like crisis at 9 a.m. felt different on that porch. At 7 p.m. she'd sit across the torch of a candle on the table between us. Nothing required of me except my presence.
Back porch gospel, evening air, grandmama's wisdom floating everywhere. Back porch gospel, let it in. Some healing only comes from where you've been. Back porch gospel, slow it down. Best church I ever found was on that common ground. Back porch gospel, still and true. Everything I needed, she already knew.
She never gave advice the obvious way. Never sat you down and said, here's what I'd say about your situation. Just the questions, quiet ones that led you to the lessons. Yourself, that's the art of the elder, who understands the teaching, the melder of the space between the question and the knowing, who trusts the other person's own growing. Enough to ask instead of answer. She'd say, what do you think about it? In that way that made you realize you already held the answer somewhere, just needed the spelled out space to find it. The porch provided that, the screen door, the candle, the welcome mat of her attention. We'd sit until the dark came fully in, until the first stars
Back
marked.
porch gospel, evening air, grandmama's wisdom floating everywhere. Back porch gospel, let it in. Some healing only comes from where you've been. Back porch gospel, slow it down. Best church I ever found was on that common ground. Back porch gospel, still and true. Everything I needed, she already knew.
She's gone now, but the porch is still standing. Still belongs to the family, still commanding that particular stillness. And whoever sits there, my cousin says that never changes. Says the wood still holds the warmth of all the evening. Says the evening form of the light still hits the screen the same way. Still produces the same particular halfway between the world and something quieter feeling. Still provides the same particular healing. Quality that can't be manufactured in a newer space. Some things get captured in the architecture of the years of use, in the specific grain of the wood, the loose screen door that never got replaced, because replacing it would change the sound it was. We carry it with us like a practice, the sitting down, the letting the abstract weight of the week find its proportion against the larger, the distortion of the urgent into the perspective of the actual. That's the corrective that the porch provided, that we took forward into every chapter of the book of the life. When things get heavy now, we find the equivalent somehow. The step, the evening air, the quiet seat, the willingness to let the week compete with the size of the sky and lose. It always loses when you give it room enough. She knew this, grandmama knew this before the language for it existed. Back porch gospel
Back
night.
porch gospel, evening air, grandmama's wisdom floating everywhere. Back porch gospel, let it in. Some healing only comes from where you've been. Back porch gospel, slow it down. Best church I ever found was on that common ground. Back porch gospel, still and true. Everything I needed, she already knew. a steeple, just the porch, the candle, and her people. Everything she gave us still is with us. Back porch gospel, she's still teaching. Back porch gospel, still reaching.
Grandmama,
Grandmama, back porch, still there.
West Side.
Best church, always was.
West Side. Somebody fired up the grill. Let's go. West Side. Somebody fired up the grill. Let's go.
Holiday weekend activated the particular ritual of the block. The vernacular of the cookout assembling itself. By noon, somebody pulled the shelf of the folding tables from the garage. The particular collage of the neighborhood emerging chairs appearing from nowhere. The particular press
of the smoke from 3 different grills competing in the air. The particular skills of the block's appointed pit masters discussed annually the disasters of the previous year's brisket relitigated. The improvements of the current celebrated. Body assembled Jerry.
This is Jay.
Brought a potato salad.
The claims. Barbecue on the block. Everybody came. Barbecue on the block. Nothing feels the same. The summer and the smoke and the crew. Barbecue on the block. Me and you and the whole neighborhood showing out. Barbecue on the block. Ooh, what it's about.
West Side cookout, paper plate in hand.
Barbecue on the block.
Yeah.
You understand.
The kids took the street like they owned it. The parents old enough to have condoned it without the announcement. Understood the summer arithmetic, the good of the unstructured, the bikes and the chalk. On the pavement, the particular walk of the Saturday child.
Completely
present, no schedule.
We watch discreetly
from the fold-out chairs, the elders watching. The younger ones, the waiter watching.
Always passes.
We were to them once, on the same street, under this same sun. Running the same calculations of the free summer afternoons.
Somebody's 3.
Yeah, all discovered the sprinkler, the particular joy of the discovery, vernacular.
Barbecue on the block, everybody came. Barbecue on the block, nothing feels the same. Summer and the smoke and the crew. Barbecue on the block, me, you, and the whole neighborhood showing out. Barbecue on the block, what it's about.
West Side cookout, paper plate in hand.
Barbecue on the block,
yeah.
You understand.
By 3 the block was at its fullest. The music from competing speakers, the loves between the songs filled by the conversation of 30 people in the particular nation of the familiar.
She arrived around
3:30.
The particular sound
of her laughter reaching me before she did. I seen her at the last cookout. The grid of the familiar, the block social. Architecture providing the local version of the introduction.
No
cold approach required the flow of the cookout, doing the work naturally. The potato salad as the entry point of the conversation.
Mrs. James.
Recipes as the opening of game.
Barbecue on the block, everybody came. Barbecue on the block, nothing feels the same. Summer and the smoke and the crew. Barbecue on the block, me and you, and the whole neighborhood showing out. Barbecue on the block, what it's about.
West Side cookout, paper plate in hand.
Barbecue on the block,
yeah.
You understand. Mrs. James, potato salad.
West Side.
Every summer, same block, same smoke, same crew. Never gets old. Barbecue on the block, yeah.
Turn it up just a little. Let the record breathe. Saturday came in slow, the way the good ones always do. No agenda, no commitments, just the afternoon and you, and whatever feels right. I started with some coffee, let the morning take its time before it handed off to the afternoon. Put on a record while the light was still that particular golden that belongs to late Saturday, specifically that color that the week
Never manufacture, only weekends got that heat. Walked over to the crate and flipped through without rushing. Fingers moving through the spines with something like a loving attention to the collection. Every record has a story, every sleeve a little worn, a little Sunday morning glory. Faded at the corners, that's the evidence of choosing this one over and again. Some records you keep using, not because you can't afford the new ones, but because the familiar has a frequency the new one never does.
Every record tells it, every groove has got a story in the vinyl. Every record tells it, something in the spin that makes the moment feel eternal. Yeah, every record has a conversation that it's been waiting to have. Every record tells it, put it on and let it do the math.
That's right. Let it play. West Side. Marcus came through a roundabout two with his cousin Ray. Both of them already in that particular Saturday. State of mind loose, unbothered, ready for whatever. Brought some food, some conversation, and some better weather than the week had offered. We sat out on the steps while the record played through the window. Every breath of wind carrying the bass line through the afternoon. Three men doing nothing in the best way, letting noon become the early evening without noticing the turning. Just the conversation and the music and the learning of what easy feels like when you stop performing easy and just let the hours move the way they move. Not breezy as a concept, but as practice, as the actual living of the unhurried, the habitual choosing of the slow over the urgent. Marcus laughed at something Ray said in the record, made a second pass.
Every record tells it, every groove has got a story in the final. Every record tells it, something in the spin that makes the moment feel eternal. Yeah, every record has a conversation that it's been waiting to have. Every record tells it, put it down and let it do the math.
Shout out to everybody sitting on their steps right now. Good music, good people. That's the whole thing right there. West Side, know what I'm talking about. Every record.
By the time
West Side, front yards, real ones.
Our block had a particular kind of people. The front yard kind, the porch light kind, the equal. Welcome for the neighbor and the stranger kind. They leave the door unlocked, that you don't mind if I sit here a minute kind. That generosity of the open, that particular philosophy of the available. Miss James next door had a chair outside that served as the welcome more than any sign could. She be there by 7. Rain or shine, coffee in hand, 11 of the block, the one who knew the names of every child on the street, the claims of every family, every struggle, every season. Showed up for all of it without a reason. Required beyond the being neighbor, that is the rarest kind of wealth and where we're at.
front yard people, porch light burning. Front yard people, always discerning who needs a wave and who needs a seat. Front yard people make the block complete. Front yard people, Mrs. James knew. Front yard people, that's me and you. Everything good about where we came from. Front yard people, that's where love is from.
You could read the whole block from the front yard. Know who's struggling, know who's keeping guard against the hard, the yard that's kept immaculate. When everything inside is falling, that elaborate exterior maintained as the last declaration of the dignity. Contrast that with the yard let go completely when the inside finally found its peace neatly. The outside followed, bloomed the following spring. Mr. Howard's roses, that was everything we needed to know about recovery. The yard that tells the story, the discovery of the outside following the inside home. Front yard people never feel alone because the yard is conversation, the ongoing dialogue of the block, the showing.
Front yard people, porch light burning. Front yard people, always discerning who needs a wave and who needs a seat. Front yard people make the block complete. Front yard people, Mrs. James knew. Front yard people, that's me and you. Everything good about where we came from. Front yard people, that's where love is from.
We moved to apartments,
Eventually, the front yard disappeared. The amenity of the porch replaced by hallways. The particular loss of the threshold, no vernacular for the neighbor anymore, just the door that closes, just the elevator floor. Selected without eye contact, the grief of that transition. Quiet, the relief of the new place mixed with something missing that took years to name. I kept dismissing it as nostalgia until I understood it wasn't the past I missed, it was the good architecture of the available. The front yard as the communal table that the apartment building never offered. Front yard people, that's what the block authored. Now I make the front yard wherever I land. Windowsill, apartment steps, the plan. Lingering in the hallway long enough to learn the neighbor's name. The stuff of the front yard reproduced in smaller form. The principle surviving past the norm that house did originally. Mrs. James taught us that the yard was never frames and grass. It was the willingness to be present at the threshold, visibly available. We carry that now. Front yard people, regardless of how the architecture limits the expression. Front yard people is the possession of a disposition, not a place. Front yard people, you can see it in the face.
Front yard people, porch light burning. Front yard people, always discerning who needs a wave and who needs a seat. Front yard people make the block complete. Front yard people, Mrs. James knew. Front yard people, that's me and you. Everything good about where we came from. Front yard people, that's where love is from. Porch light burning after dark. Front yard people leave a mark. Not in monuments, but in the knowing that somebody saw you coming and going. Front yard people, always there.
Mrs. James, front yard, still burning. West side, porch light, always on. West side, function mode, let's go. West side, West side,
Function mode.
let's go. Friday activated the particular frequency of the done with it. The week's residency and the patience finally expired. The function calling, the evening hired. To undo what Monday through to Thursday built up, I pressed the iron the first day of the weekend deserves the presentation of the effort.
Function.
Preparation is its own ritual, the choosing of the outfit with the care of the above. Average occasion because it is the above average. The weekly quiz of who you are outside the working hours. The version of yourself that fully flowers when the badge comes off, when the desk disappears. Function mode
Activated, this is ours. Function mode. Friday ready. Function mode. Keep it steady. Best dressed in the building tonight. Function mode. Everything right. Function mode. West side showing. Function mode. Good times flowing. Every Friday earn a weekend. Function mode. Let it begin.
Picked up Marcus, picked up Dion after the preparation, the particular laughter of the pre-function, the loose energy of the before, the synergy of the assembled crew, the riffing on the anticipation, the lifting of the collective move before the door even opens.
That's the what the before.
It's for the function starts in the car, in the parking lot, at the bar, the pre-game in the lobby. The actual venue is just the eventual location of something already begun.
We arrived already having fun.
Function mode doesn't wait for arrival.
Function mode.
It's about the survival.
Function mode. Friday ready. Function mode. Keep it steady. Best dressed in the building tonight. Function mode. Everything right. Function mode. West side showing. Function mode. Good times flowing. Every Friday and the weekend. Function mode.
Yeah.
Let it begin.
Now, by 11 the function found its level. The room at full capacity to treble. And the bass in the right proportion, the DJ reading the crowd, the portion of the energy that needed feeding, fed precisely.
No proceeding.
Past the moment, just a full arrival.
In the present,
Function survival.
depends on the DJ and the crowd. Rating each other when it's right. The loud becomes the only appropriate volume. The body takes over, the solemn week dissolves into the motion of the floor, the full devotion of the Friday to the evening.
Function mode.
Everything we deserve. Function mode. Friday ready. Function mode. Keep it steady. Best dressed in the building tonight. Function mode. Everything right. Function mode. West side showing. Function mode. Good times flowing. Every Friday on the weekend. Function mode. Let it begin.
Friday, activated.
West side.
Marcus, beyond.
Function mode. Let it begin. Function mode. Let it begin.
Yeah.
West Side. Everything we needed was already there. We just had to look. Didn't have the most growing up, but never felt the least. Mama made the difference between the famine and the feast. Out of what was available, that particular alchemy of the resourceful, the vernacular of making something from the limited, the stretching of the dollar, of the patience, of the reaching into nothing and producing something warm. That's the east side education, that's the form. Intelligence takes when the formal kind isn't accessible, we use a different mind. A practical, a present tense, a reading of the room before the room required the reading. We were trained in the survival of the beautiful, the finding of the gold inside the beautiful. Ordinary day is there if you look close. In the cracks of the everyday, that's where it lives the most.
Gold in the cracks of the ordinary. Gold in the places that the world walks past. Gold in the hands of the ones who carry everything they have and make it last. Gold in the morning, gold in the evening. Gold in the block where we were born and raised. Gold in the giving, gold in believing that what we came from deserves to be praised.
People drove through our neighborhood and saw the surface. Never stopped long enough to find the purpose underneath the depth of what was happening. In living rooms, on porches, the imagining of futures that the surface didn't advertise. The dreaming that went on behind the eyes of kids who looked like circumstance to outsiders. But we're building.
Gold in the cracks of the ordinary. Gold in the places that the world walks past. Gold in the hands of the ones who carry everything they have and make it last. Gold in the morning, gold in the evening. Gold in the block where we were born and raised. Gold in the giving, gold in believing that what we came from deserves to be praised.
Late night, wrong place, right instinct. Let me take you back.
It was 11:15 when I pulled up on the east side, headed to my cousin's, but I took the wrong street, eastbound ride. Rode up slow and noticed something moving in the shadow. 3 figures by the fence line, body language said there's trouble. Cut the engine, didn't panic, just assess the situation. Reached inside the center console, pure concentration. Wasn't looking for a problem, but the problem found the address. Had to think 3 moves ahead to navigate the madness. Out calm like nothing, nodded like I knew the territory. Bought myself enough of time to figure out the story. One of them stepped forward with a question in his posture. I held my ground and answered with a stillness that imposted something like authority. The moment hung suspended, then another voice came through, and just like that it ended. Old head from the neighborhood vouched for me by name. After that the tension broke and everything was plain.
We hold it down through the night, keep it moving, keep it right. When the pressure finds your door, that's what we've been built for. Hold it down, hold it down. Every city, every town. When the darkness comes around, real ones holding
Dion
down.
walked me to the corner, said the block had been on edge ever since the changes came and pushed some people to the ledge of decisions that they never would have made in calmer seasons. When the bills are due and options thin, you don't need many reasons to do something you can't undo. I understood the physics of the desperation, understood the mathematics of a man with nothing left to lose inside a losing situation. That's not weakness, that's the product of a broken calculation. He said, watch yourself out here tonight and take the main road home. Some nights the shortcut cost you more than time when you're alone. I thanked them, got back in the car and sat there for a minute, thought about my main hit. A ratty time night on my gang was playing.
We hold it down through the night, keep it moving, keep it right. When the pressure finds your door, that's what we've been built for. Hold it down, hold it down. Every city, every town. When the darkness comes around, real ones hold it down. We hold it down through the night, keep it moving, keep it right. When the pressure finds your door, that's what we've been built for. Hold it down, hold it down. Every city, every town. When the darkness comes around, real ones hold it down.
West side, midnight, just walking. Left the house at 12 with nowhere specific going. Just the need to move through something, just the knowing that the walls had gotten close and the city was the only remedy. That particular pretty of the midnight block, the orange glow of the street lights on the pavement, the slow exhale of the neighborhood at rest. The daytime version of itself compressed into the quiet footsteps, mine alone on the sidewalk. The particular tone of the city after hours, less performed, more honest, more itself. I was warned as a kid about the midnight street, but the midnight street just showed me its complete and unguarded face. The version that the daylight never offers, something sacred in the late night.
City breathing slow, only I know where my feet are taking me tonight. Midnight walk, something feels right about the darkness and the open air. Midnight walk, leaving every care behind me on the pavement as I go. Midnight walk, that's the only way.
Past the bakery where the morning shift had already started, the particular gift of the bread smell through the vent at 1 a.m. Something about it, the world's quiet hymn of the ongoing. The city never fully sleeping, always some operation. The duly noted evidence that the living continues through the dark and all its various venues. Mr. Kim at the 24-hour market, restocking in the stillness, the market empty, except for him and the fluorescent humming me passing the window. The present moment shared across the glass, the nod of the nocturnal, the particular odd brotherhood of the ones awake at midnight, moving through the city in the soft light.
Midnight walk, city breathing slow. Midnight walk, only I know where my feet are taking me tonight. Midnight walk, something feels right about the darkness and the open air. Midnight walk, leaving every care behind me on the pavement as I go. Midnight walk, that's the only way alive.
By 2 a.m. the thinking had entangled everything the week had left mangled inside. That's the function of the walking, the body moving, so the mind stops talking in circles, finds the linear, the clean, single thread of what the tangle means. Pull through the needle of the midnight air, something resolved by the time I hit the stair. Back home, I can't explain the mathematics of it, just the practical pragmatics of the body, moving through the dark, until the thinking finds its watermark, its natural level. Nothing revolutionary, just a midnight walk. The ordinary, miracle emotion, and the night air, returning you to yourself. I'll be back out there.
Midnight walk, city breathing slow. Midnight walk, only I know where my feet are taking me tonight. Midnight walk, something feels right about the darkness and the open air. Midnight walk, leaving every care behind me on the pavement as I go. Midnight walk, that's the only way, no.
Still walking.
West Side, midnight. Mr. Kim still restocking, city still breathing.
Midnight walk.
West Side, windows down, let it ride. 10 p.m. and the freeway opened up. The daytime version packed and hostile. The cup of the evening poured out smooth. I merged into the left lane, let the engine surge, just enough to feel it. The particular response of the machine, vernacular of the horsepower at 65. The specific freedom of the night drive. City lights on both sides, doing what city lights do at night. The cut of the skyline against the dark. The bridge, lights on the water, every ridge of the infrastructure lit from underneath. The night drive finds the city's good side. Beneath the daylight stress at 65. The city looks like everything's alive.
Night crew, windows down. Night crew, been in town. Behind me for a minute, just the road. Night crew, losing the load of the week in the rearview mirror. Night cruise, everything clearer at 65 with the music low. Night cruise, that's the way to go.
My brother rides shotgun on the good nights. No destination necessary, the right music at the right volume, not too loud. Loud enough to feel it, the shroud. The small talk in the warmth of the familiar. The particular comfort of the similar. Silence that old friends can share. No performance necessary, just the air and the road and the music and the lights of the city doing this thing. Some nights the conversation never comes, and that's the best kind. Just the sitting in the facts of the friendship without the need to prove it. Through the talking, night cruise, we move it at whatever pace the road suggests. Some nights the silence is the best.
Night cruise, windows down. Night cruise, leaving town. Behind me for a minute, just the road. Night cruise, losing the load of the week in the rearview mirror. Night cruise, everything clearer at 65 with the music low. Night cruise, that's the way to go.
There's a particular mile on the freeway where the city drops away, a brief gateway between the dense city and the open. Just a moment, 30 seconds to thrust of the engine through the temporary clearing. I look for it on every night cruise. That specific absence of the city for that specific instance. Something resets in that 30 seconds. Something in the noise of living beckons for that clearing, that brief open space. I think we all need that particular grace. The moment where the density releases, where the pressure of the ordinary ceases. Just briefly, enough to breathe completely. Then the city returns, but differently, more neatly.
Night cruise, windows down. Night cruise, leaving town. Behind me for a minute, just the road. Night cruise, losing the load of the week in the rearview mirror. Night cruise, everything clearer at 65 with the music low. Night cruise, that's the way to go.
That 30 seconds, find it every time. West Side. Brother in the passenger seat. Music low.
Night cruise. Windows down.
Yeah.
I walked these same streets my whole life, but I ain't the same man who started walking them.
Let me tell you the difference. Wore
the same shoes 3 years straight because we couldn't do better. Cardboard in the soda, keep the coat out in winter weather. Mama never said we poor, she said we in between right now. Between the bill collectors and the silence after chow. When the table wasn't full but everybody acted normal, like the absence of the plenty was just life and not abnormal. That particular dignity of people who have nothing but refuse to let the nothing be the whole of their becoming. I watched my father iron his only good shirt every Sunday. Crease so sharp it looked expensive, that was his way of saying I still got something in me that the circumstances didn't take away. That pressed shirt was a sermon and I listened. Learn that how you carry what you're carrying is everything. That the posture of a man under pressure's a serious thing. Not performance, not denial, something deeper than the surface. A decision made each morning to remember your own purpose.
Same streets, different shoes.
Same block taught me everything I needed not to lose.
Same streets, different shoes.
Walked out of what was given into something that I chose.
Yeah, same street,
but I ain't walking them the same way anymore.
Same streets, different shoes.
Every step I take is something that I walk through. It's the Ellington, 3 houses down at Roses in the yard. Middle the roughest block you've ever seen. Red roses standing guard against the gray of everything surrounding them. Defiant, something in their color was a daily act of quiet resistance. I would pass them every morning, going nowhere specific, just the walking of a boy who needed somewhere to put his thinking. Mr. Ellington would nod, never many words between us, but the roses said enough. There was a woman named Carlotta, ran an alteration shop on the corner of the street where all ambition seemed to stop. For most of us she stayed open late and kept the radio loud. Old school playing through the walls, a soundtrack for the crowd and nobody, just the street receiving what she put into the air. I used to stand outside and listen like the music had a prayer. Inside it meant specifically for me, maybe it did. Maybe that's how some of us survived the particular grid.
Same streets, different shoes.
Same block taught me everything I needed not to lose.
Same streets, different shoes.
Walked out of what was given into something that I chose.
Yeah, same shoes.
Mr. Ellington's roses still in bloom.
Same streets, different shoes.
Carlotta's radio still filling up that room.
Now I drive through in a different car and see it all compressed into a series of coordinates where everything I stressed about was forged into the person sitting in the seat. The boy who wore the cardboard shoes now feels the leather underneath his feet and understands the distance isn't really about the leather. It's about the morning that he chose to hold himself together, when the holding was the hardest, when the reasons were the fewest, when the block was at its loudest and the future at its quietest. I could have stayed inside the version of myself the street expected, could have followed every path that was already pre-selected for a boy from where I'm from. The options clearly labeled, the exits hard to find for those who weren't already able to see past the immediate, past the weight of the praising circumstance. I saw it barely, just enough, and I repented nothing. Just redirected, took the long way to the daylight. Same streets raised me, same streets couldn't hold me. That's alright, that's alright, that's alright, that's alright.
Same streets, different shoes.
Same block taught me everything I needed not to lose.
Same streets, different shoes.
Walked out of what was given into something that I chose.
Yeah, same street.
Mr. Ellington's roses still in bloom.
Same streets, different shoes.
Carlotta's radio still filling up that room.
Same street, different man. Same street that made this man.
Yeah. West side, same sun raised us. Let it ride.
Started from the same address, same alarm clock ringing, same smell of breakfast through the hallway, same birds singing. Outside the same window, 2 boys in the same story, different chapters of it, building toward us the same glory. Not the flashy kind, the quiet kind that stacks up. Slow over years while everybody else is backed up. Chase the immediate, we played the long game. Different moves, same board, different voice, same name. Never had to explain ourselves to each other. The shorthand runs too deep, that's the language of the brother. Who was there before the language, there before the knowing of yourself. Just there, consistent, always going the same direction even when the road split. Even when the distance tested it, the orbit kept us circling back. That's the gravity of the original bond, that's the reality. Same sun, different shadows. Same roots growing through the same meadows. Same sun, watched us rise. Same west coast light behind our eyes. Same sun, same beginning. Different roads but the same sun winning. Same sun going down tonight.
Same sun coming up, that's alright.
Took different routes to arrive at the same conclusion, that the bond is the foundation, not an illusion. You maintained yourself when it's the real thing. We tested it enough to know the difference. The feeling of the genuine and versus the constructed one survives.
West side, ocean, midnight.
Parked above the water where the road ends, at the guardrail, that's where the night bends into something different, where the city stops in the Pacific, takes the committee of the senses. The sound arrives first, the particular volume of it, the thirst. It satisfies before you knew you had it. The smell of the salt air, the habit of the ocean being larger than whatever brought you here tonight. The whatever shrinks on contact with that much water, moving in the dark, the particular quarter mile of the Pacific in front of me stands in for the infinite efficiently. You don't need to see the whole ocean to feel the proportion, just emotion.
Sure after midnight, just the waves. Sure after midnight, counting days that try to break me. Ocean says, sure after midnight, let it wash away everything the city couldn't carry. Sure after midnight, necessary. Salt air, medicine, dark water wide. Sure after midnight, that's where I reside.
My grandfather brought us here on certain evenings. No explanation offered for the reasons. Just the drive, just the parking, just the walking. To the edge, the ocean did the talking. He said the water was here before. The city would be here long after the shore. Doesn't care about your problems in the way that makes the problem suddenly okay. Not smaller, just proportion, that's the lesson. The ocean teaches without the session of the formal, just the standing at the edge of it, the particular ledge. Between the land, the everything I've stood at the same railing since my childhood. The city changing at my back, the ocean maintaining its original devotion.
Sure after midnight, just the waves. Sure after midnight, counting days that try to break me. Ocean says, sure after midnight, let it wash away everything the city couldn't carry. Sure after midnight, necessary. Salt air, medicine, dark water wide. Sure after midnight, that's where I reside.
Stay 2 hours without checking anything. Just the water doing this particular thing of the endless arriving, receding. The same motion since before the needing of a name for it. I thought about the grandfather, the particular route he took to get here. What he knew about the ocean that he tried to pass through to us without the language. Now I bring my own reasons to this rail in the same offering of whatever weight arrived this week. The same exchange I speak. Nothing out loud, just a standing, just the presence at the edge, the trust that the ocean receives what you bring it. Midnight, sure, you don't have to name it.
Sure after midnight, just the waves. Sure after midnight, counting days that try to break me. Ocean says, sure after midnight, let it wash away everything the city couldn't carry. Sure after midnight, necessary. Salt air, medicine, dark water wide. Sure after midnight, that's where I reside. Grandfather knew this water, now I bring my own weight here. Ocean takes what you offer. Salt air makes the thinking clear. Sure after midnight, always here.
Grandfather's railing, same ocean, west side, 2 hours, no phone, just the water.
Sure after midnight.
West side. She walked in.
Whole room felt it, felt it.
She walked in.
She walked in.
She walked in like the evening had been waiting.
for her specific arrival, like the rating of the whole night just went up the room. Adjusted to accommodate the bloom of her presence. I'm not the type to stare, but something about the way she moved the air made looking unavoidable. Composed, like she knew exactly what the evening proposed and had already decided on her terms. Before she crossed the threshold, she confirms every few seconds through the posture, through the angle of the chin. Nobody knew to the attention, not performing for it, just existing. Naturally, the orbit of the room adjusted. I watched from a distance, somebody's finest, no question, no resistance.
Somebody's finest walked in tonight. Somebody's finest got the whole room right. Somebody's finest moving like she knows. Somebody's finest, everybody knows. That walk, that presence, that particular grace.
Somebody's finest.
She owns the space. Westside finest, best I've seen.
Somebody's finest.
You know what I mean.
Eventually the distance closed. She laughed at something a friend said. The particular craft of a full laugh unguarded. That's the tale of the real person underneath. The spell of the composed breaks briefly. Something genuine surfaces. I filed at the beginning of the actual, past the entrance, past the arrival. Something that could last beyond the evening if the conversation found its footing. I made my navigation toward the corner where she stood. The slow approach, no rush, let the moment flow at its own pace. She clocked at 20 feet, out. Slight adjustment in the beat of her attention. That's the language of the aware. I introduced myself.
Somebody's finest walked in tonight. Somebody's finest got the whole room right. Somebody's finest moving like she knows. Somebody's finest, everybody knows. That walk, that presence, that particular grace.
Somebody's finest.
She owns the space. Westside finest, best I've seen.
Somebody's finest.
You know what I mean.
We talked until the party thinned around us. Found the quiet corner that the music found us in. The conversation had that quality, her the rare exchange, the novelty of someone who engages, fully present, not performing, listening. The pleasant surprise of the actual intelligence behind the entrance. The evidence that the finest in the room was finest all the way through, not just the initial call to attention. She was something complete. I got a number when I said good night. The sweet particular handoff for the possible into the future. Everything was full of the potential of the Tuesday call. Somebody's finest, best night of all.
Somebody's finest walked in tonight. Somebody's finest got the whole room right. Somebody's finest moving like she knows. Somebody's finest, everybody knows. That walk, that presence, that particular grace.
Somebody's finest.
She owns the space. Westside finest, best I've seen.
Somebody's finest.
You know what I mean. Tuesday can't come fast enough.
Westside.
Somebody's finest.
No question.
Somebody's finest.
Yeah.
Warm roads, piano chords, little T. Besides the dedication to the backbone of the community, the sovereign mothers, we see you, look.
Working 2 jobs just to keep the lights on inside. Never letting the children see the damage to her pride. Got the warm roads, piano looping so elegant deep. Watching over the bedroom while the baby's fast asleep. Heartfelt rap flow dedicated to her grace. Erasing all the lines of exhaustion from her face. You're the queen of the fortress, regal and supreme. Keeping the family focused on the grandest dream. No help coming from the father who walked away, but you stood firm every single difficult day. Every single prayer you whispered in the dark night became the ammunition that fueled my personal fight. From the concrete trenches to the global stage view, everything I accumulate is dedicated to you. No commercial trophy can match your worth. You're the holiest entity on this entire earth.
The queen standing tall, sovereign.
Remember the winter when the heater didn't work, but you wrapped us in blankets with a beautiful smile perk, teaching us that luxury isn't measured by the gold, but by the integrity of the stories that are told. Got the melodic female backing vocals rising high, like an angel floating through the urban sky. We took your lessons and we turned them into power, standing independent every single passing hour. No space for the disrespect, we check the attitude, approaching your throne with nothing but gratitude. So let the music play sweet across the neighborhood lane, celebrating the woman who conquered the pain. You standard, bearer of pure unconditional love, blessed by the heavens above.
Sava the queen standing tall, sovereign mother guiding our way through the darkest night into the bright day. We elevate your name, we protect your crown. No system in the world can pull your spirit down.
Yeah, sovereign mother, put the crown back on your head. Dusty vinyl radio, generational gratitude. About the brothers who didn't make it through the fall. Got the sad guitar plug looping in the track, bringing all the heavy emotional memories back. Heavy slow boom bap drum, keeping the heartbeat slow. Watching how the tears of a warrior silently flow. We hide the vulnerability underneath the tough disguise, but the trauma is visible if you look into the eyes. Too many funerals for the young neighborhood kings, dealing with the misery that the street life brings. No commercial radio wants to spin this reality. They rather glorify the industrial system's fatality. But I gotta speak the truth for the people in the dirt, validating every single ounce of the internal hurt. We stand the bearers for a generation in pain, standing outside in the freezing psychological rain. Tears of a warrior falling on the page, trying to find an exit from the systemic cage. We fight the battle outside, we fight the battle within, searching for the place where the healing can begin. I see the pressure building up inside the chest, never getting a single second to properly rest. They expect the giant to always stay strong, forgetting that the journey has been incredibly long. Got the emotional vocal delivery bleeding on the mic, showing the universe what the inner thoughts are like. We don't need more weapons, we need more peace. Watching the rate of the community destruction decrease. Every single bar is a prayer for the block, trying to unlock the heavy institutional lock. So let the guitar play out the Who's and Lou theme. This is the documentary of a broken boy's dream, but the spirit is resilient, we won't fold under weight. We transforming the trajectory of our historical fate.
Tears of a
warrior falling on the page, trying to find an exit from the systemic cage.
We fight the battle outside,
we fight the battle within,
searching for the place where the healing can begin.
Yeah, tears of a warrior. It's time to heal the block. Dusty vinyl radio, pure emotional depth. Windows down. Sunset glow. Yeah, chrome gets a light while the boulevard bends. Palm trees waving like they know we're old friends. Bassline rolling with the heartbeat slow. Every block got a story that the night lights know. Fresh white tee with the calm state of mind. No need to rush when the world's in rewind. City full of motion but my lane stays clear. Built my own path, now the future's right here. Every mile got memories painted in gold. Young dreams grew wiser but never got old. Still chasing peace more than chasing fame. The view keeps changing but I stay the same.
Ride with me into the golden sky, where the city lights up.
neighborhood echoes through the radio waves. Old souls dancing while the boulevard sways. Windows reflect every color we chase. Life moving smooth at its own steady pace. No pressure here, let the rhythm decide. Every beat feels better when you're enjoying the ride. Real ones beside me, no need to pretend. Loyal from the start, loyal to the end. Sun fades low, but the mood stays bright. California dreaming every single night. From the curb to the coast, every scene feels alive. Moving with the groove, just enjoying the drive. Cruise, no fear. Good vibes, all year.
Ride with me into the golden sky, where the city lights and the stars collide. Feel the breeze as the night unfolds. Every road we take turns into gold.
One more lap around the city tonight. Let the music carry us until sunrise.
Stay smooth, stay true. West side, long night ahead. Let 'em cook.
Pulled up to the function round about 10 or so. Heard the bass bumping from the parking lot below. Knew the energy was right before I hit the door. That particular frequency you can't ignore. Asked the man up front, can I get in where I fit in? He looked me up and down, I said, homie, I ain't tripping. Just a man with good intentions and some time to spend. Nodded me through, that's where the night begins. Found my way up to the booth where the records live. Introduced myself and offered what I had to give. 2 crates full of vinyl, every era represented. DJ looked, smiled, said, brother, you're well equipped. And welcomed me into the rotation like a native. Something about a room full of music makes you patient, makes you willing to just stand inside the frequency and let the night do what the night was meant to be.
That's the spin, that's the groove, that's the feeling when the record makes you move. That's the spin, that's the sound, that's the West Coast keeping everybody going round. Yeah, that's the spin. Let the DJ set the tone for the evening. That's the spin. Good music is the only thing worth believing.
Talk to him, West Side in the building. Let them know. By midnight, and everybody found their frequency. The room was moving like the record was a remedy for everything the week had tried to put inside you. All the noise of Monday through the Friday tried to guide you somewhere far from this. The music pulled you back to something that your body knew before your mind could track it. Instinct of the groove, the cellular remember of what rhythm does to humans. Every limb surrendered to the motion. I looked around and saw it happen to everybody simultaneously. The loosening of the held together, the release of the maintained composure in the room was right. There's nothing to explain or justify or manage, just the being in the moment of the music and the people and the night as its components arrange themselves around the booth where the records spin. That's the frequency, that's how the West is always doing.
That's the spin, that's the groove, that's the feeling when the record makes you move. That's the spin, that's the sound, that's the West Coast keeping everybody going round. Yeah, that's the spin. Let the DJ set the tone for the evening. That's the spin. Good music is the only thing worth believing.
Yeah, that's him right there. That's the man behind the ones and twos. West Side, Long Beach, all the way live. Nobody spinning records like this tonight. Nobody. Around about 2 a.m. the room was at its peak. That particular hour when the night is at its cheek against the morning, right before the turning of the dial, when everything is possible and nobody's in denial of the fact that this right here was something worth the living, something worth remembering, something worth the giving of your full attention. I've been to 100 rooms, but certain nights remind you what a room can do. The DJ read the crowd the way a novel reads a reader. Something intuitive about the sequence and the meter of the selections. When to bring it up, when let it settle, when to drop the unexpected record. Test the metal of the floor, and every time the floor responded like a conversation between the music and the gathered people who needed this more than they probably knew. That's the spin, that's what the right record can do.
That's the spin, that's the groove. That's the feeling when the record makes you move. Yeah, that's the spin, that's the sound. That's the West Coast keeping everybody going round. Yeah, that's the spin. Let the DJ set the tone for the evening. That's the spin. Good music is the only thing worth believing.
West side, west side. That's the spin right there. All night, all night. Yeah. City stretched out like it's waiting. Let's ride. Left the house at 9 when the sky was turning purple. Took the long way just to feel the engine circle. Obsidians doing what they do when you let them breathe. Took the freeway to the coastline, felt the ocean underneath the air. That particular salt and jasmine combination that belongs to this specific latitude and station on the map of places worth existing. I exist here, deliberately by choice, because nothing else is clearer than the feeling of a California night in forward motion. Windows down, the city spreading out the slow ocean. A street light in tension, everybody somewhere going. Everybody in their own particular story flowing. Parallel to mine for just a moment at the signal, then diverging back to separate. Every life a single thread inside the larger fabric. I appreciate the texture, velvet engine, velvet night. No need for any pain to
velvet engine turning over slow. Every mile a reason not to rush that thing go. Of everything the daylight asks you to be carrying. Velvet engine, velvet night, just you and the city breathing.
Stopped at Rose's on Figaro for something cold. She's been running that same counter since the block was old. Enough to remember when the neighborhood had different names. Before the shift and before the money came and rearranged the storefronts, but not the people. Rosa stayed, Rosa staying. Put her daughter through school on the strength of what she's making. From that counter, from that cold drink, from that nod of recognition. She gives the regulars, I'm regular, I've earned that position. Through years of showing up, through years of the consistent. Choosing this block, this counter, this particular existence. Over anything that wanted me somewhat more impressive. Over anywhere that asked me to be something more aggressive than what I am at 9 p.m. on a Tuesday. Rosa handed me the cup, said, baby, have a good day, even though it wasn't day. That's the language of the caring that survives the neighborhood's rebranding. Still declaring
velvet engine turning over slow. Every mile a reason not to rush that and go. Of everything the daylight asks you to be carrying. Velvet engine, velvet night, just you and the city breathing.
Got back in the car and sat there for a minute. Just the engine idling, just the city in it. That particular pause between the going and returning, between the being out and being home, between the yearning for the motion and the comfort of the stationary. Just a man inside a car, inside a moment, temporary and complete simultaneously. That's the California paradox, the feeling that the present is enough, that the clock is running, but it doesn't have to run you. That the city will be here tomorrow, that there's nothing about this pretty evening that requires you to extract more than it's offering. Just the velvet engine, just the night, just the considering of nothing in particular with full attention. That's the luxury that nobody puts in the description of the good life. The idle minute, Rosa's cold drink, velvet engine, purple sky, the city on the brink of something that turns out to just be morning. And that's enough, and that's enough, no need for warning. Velvet engine, Rosa's still open, city still breathing. That's enough.
West side,
Yeah.
royalty, always was. Yeah, she carries herself like the block crowned her. Long before the evening found her. In this particular room, the particular dignity of the West Side vernacular of the woman who came up knowing her own worth before the knowing was fashionable. She learned it from the women who came before the sun.
Of the grandmothers uncles and the aunties, the mothers who wore the dignity like the others. Wore jewelry, permanent, intentional. The identity, credential of the West Side woman who survived. The particular gauntlet and arrived intact, fully formed, no apology for the fullness. That's the legacy. West Side royalty, always been West Side royalty. Wear the crown again, built from the block, refined by the years. West Side royalty, it appears in the way she walks, the way she talks. West Side royalty, she rocks everything she came from like a throne. West Side royalty, she's never alone.
Watch her navigate the room with the ease of the completely unbothered, the expertise of the self-possessed, not arrogance, the opposite. The particular stance of the ground, of the knowing of the ground beneath the feet. I've been around enough to tell the difference between the performed confidence and the scene. Enough to be unshaken, she had seen enough.
The West Side education
is thorough in that specific lesson. The world will test your self-possession regularly, aggressively, without announcement. The devout maintenance of the self through that is the West Side crown, and that is that.
West Side royalty, always been West Side royalty. Wear the crown again, built from the block, refined by the years. West Side royalty, it appears in the way she walks, the way she talks. West Side royalty, she rocks everything she came from like a throne. West Side royalty, she's never alone.
The evening became a kind of coronation. Nobody planned the accumulation of the right people, the right music, the right hour. The acoustic of the room when everything aligns. The West Side in its finest designs of the community, celebrating the community, the create of the moment from the assembled ingredients she presided resemble the center of it naturally. The room's gravity, I finally found the opening to introduce the myself, the particular use of the evening arriving. She smiled.
West Side royalty,
worth every mile.
West Side royalty, always been West Side royalty. Wear the crown again, built from the block, refined by the years. West Side royalty, it appears in the way she walks, the way she talks. West Side royalty, she rocks everything she came from like a throne. West Side royalty, she's never alone. Grandmothers and aunties, West Side royalty. The crown was always hers, always will be. West Side royalty.
Yeah, always.